Shalom, shalom, shalom. Welcome to One Nation Israelite School. I'm your host with the most, Commander Judea. We'll be starting up in a second. Alrighty, y'all. Alrighty, let's get started. All right. So once again, shalom, shalom. Welcome to One Nation Israelite School. I'm your host with the most, Commander Judea, and I'm coming here with a Tuesday night class, a topic that must be touched, All right. The name of the class is Time for Everything. It's a time for everything. I'm coming to do this class based off some things that I've been seeing with the men in this truth today, and more. I see it with the men in the truth, but I address things that's going on in here because I can only be accountable for so much. I'm only one man. I can only reprove so much. So when I see these issues appearing up in the body here, I make it my business to approach it. And that's why we're doing this class tonight. So there's no shade and there's no misunderstanding. Yes, I'm rebuking some things that I've been seeing here. And also I've been seeing it in the world, but we're going to deal with it like this. All right. So now, today's class is entitled Time for Everything. A Time for Everything. All right. So let's get into it. We want to let the scriptures, as we go through the class, we'll reveal why this is coming out. All right. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. And it reads, "To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heaven." Again, to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose, under the heaven. So there is a time in the season. So basically what it's saying, like that old saying, there's a time and a place for everything. That's exactly what it's saying. When it says every purpose under heaven, so there's a time and a place for everything under the heaven. You know what I'm saying? For everything. Now, kids have to be taught this. Kids have to be taught that there's a time and a place for everything. But us as adults must and very well should know when or where these times and places are appropriate for each and every occasion. As an adult, we should know these things. Children have to be taught when it's time to have fun, when it's time to be serious. Adults should know that. We should very well know that. We should know when there's a time to play, there's a time to joke, there's a time to be serious. An adult's life can't consist of games, jokes, and playing and childish outbursts and all those things all the damn time. We are to be more serious than anything. As in our positions, we are to be serious more times than not. And as an adult, yeah, we have times where we have fun, we kick it, we laugh, we joke. Maybe have a little free time. We may play a video game or two. But you have to be able to discern those times. You have to be able to discern those times. You have to be able to use good judgment, grown-up judgment, an adult judgment, a man's judgment, a grown woman's judgment when those times are to be. Okay? Watch this. So as an adult, like the scripture says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. There's a time and a place for everything. Children have to be taught these. Adults should very well much know this. Watch this. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. But that's the problem. A lot of our adults don't seem to be able to discern the difference or to discern the times. And that's an issue. Watch this. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 13. The 13. That's where we're going to go. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. It says, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I thought as a child. I'm Salakia. I'm going to read that over. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So now, what we have here is basically, when he says, when I was a child, Paul is basically telling us how when he was unseasoned or a child, he did unseasoned and childish things. But when he became a man, meaning he matured in his season but when he became a man, meaning when he matured in his season of becoming a man, he put away those childish and unseasoned things, showing you Paul knew the time to become a man, to act as an adult. Therefore, he acted as a man. He thought as a man. He discerned as a man. And that's the problem that we have today. We have grown men who can't discern when it's time, when it's the time or the season for every and any purpose under heaven. They can't discern it. Men, we have grown men in the nation of Israel today who can't discern when it's time to have fun, when it's time to joke, when it's time to play, and when it's time to be serious. That's an issue. We learn from our forefathers in the Bible. Paul said when he was a child, he did childish things, meaning he's letting you know that there was a time when he did unseasoned things. There was a time when he thought like a child. He did kiddish things. But in that season, meaning in that time, when it was time for him to be a man, he put away those childish things. And he conducted himself as a grown man. And I'm quite sure Paul still had fun as an adult, but he knew the proper time and occasion for to do those things. He knew the proper time and occasion to do those things. You men in the nation of Israel have to get on the same accord. There's a grown man should not be walking around here thinking of every way to try to make fun out of everything. Everything is not a fun situation. We are in this truth. We are men of God. We are playing with we have other men's souls attached to our lives and our own souls. This is not a game. This is a serious matter. You have to be able to discern those times. You have to know the seasons and the occasions for everything under the heavens. As a fact, watch this. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes. Let's read more about knowing discerning the time. It's going to break it down for you. Let's get it understood. Let's get it understood. Ecclesiastes, we're going to start at verse 1 again. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. So there's a time to pass away. And there's a time. There's a time when you'll be born. And then there's a time that you'll decease. There's a time that you will plant seed into the ground. Even plant grown men, even plant seed into a woman. And there's a time she'll bring forth your child. If you plant seed into the ground and you nourish that seed, there's a time when you will pluck the fruits of that seed that you planted. Verse 3, a time to kill and a time to heal. There's a time to kill and there is a time to heal. It says a time to break down and a time to build up. That's a lot of you brothers. Sometimes there's a time to build a brother up. But then there's also occasions where there's a time to break the brother down. Because when you come to the truth, a lot of brothers, they have a lot of wickedness on them. Some brothers come in and they're prideful. Some people come in, whatever the case may be. Sometimes you have to tear a brother's spirit down to rebuild him up, to make him a firm man of God. Sometimes there's construction. There's a time to tear a building down, and there's a time to build a building back up. There's a time and a place for everything. That's what we're reading. So let's read 3 again and we'll read on. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to render, and a time to sue, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time to war, and a time to make peace. So under the heavens, there's a time and a season for everything. There's a time and a season for everything. Key point. Go back to verse 4. Let's go back to verse 4. This is the key point. This is why we're here. So it's a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. So the Bible's telling you what in this verse? There's a time to laugh. When it says a time to laugh, there's a time and a place for games, for jokes, to play. There's a time for that. There's a time to have a quote unquote good time. There's a time for that. There's a place for that. There's an occasion for that. Show some damn discretion. Show some damn discretion. So when I say discretion, judgment. Use good judgment. Show some damn discernment and know when these times are. Being in this truth is not grievous, but it is not grievous, but it also isn't a place of fun and games. It's a place of but it is a place where you're gonna have to make sound and solid choices. There's seriousness to this truth as well. It's not about having fun. It's not all fun and games. That's a child's mindset. That's why Paul said, when I was a child, I thought as a child I did childish things, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. There is a time and a place for childish, I'm gonna take away childish. There's a time and a place to have fun. There's a time and a place to make a game, try to play games and stuff. You have to be able to discern that time. This truth is for men. We're dealing with other people's soul along with ours. Know the time, know the occasion. This truth is not about how much fun you can make out of it. Watch this. This is this. Like I said, it's not about having fun. This truth is not all fun and games. That's a child's mindset. This is serious business. You got your soul and other people's souls at hand. Other people's souls at hand. So therefore, be a man. When I say be a man, I mean exactly what Paul was saying. Know when it's time to put away childish things. When we in the midst of class, it's not the time to be making childish outbursts, to be going back and forth with the teacher, to be joking and playing through class. It's not that time. It's not the time for that. There's nothing wrong with us having a little fun, kiki and hee and there and there. But when class is going on, that is a serious matter. When we dealing with this Bible and people's souls, that's a serious matter. And you have to be able to discern that and should be able to look and see, okay, this is not the time to play. Watch this. Like I told you, if you only concerned with having fun and having a good time and joking and playing games, that is a childish mindset. That is a unseasoned mindset. Watch this. Let's go to 2nd Esdras real quick. I ain't gonna hold y'all that long tonight. I promise I'm not gonna hold you long. We more than halfway through. This is gonna be short and direct. All right, 2nd Esdras 10 and 33. 2nd Esdras chapter 10, verse 33. Second Ezra chapter 10, verse 33. And he said unto me, stand up manfully, and I will advise thee. So read it again. And stand up manfully, and I will advise thee. It says stand up manfully. Stand up manfully. When it says stand up manfully, it says put away childish things. That verse, stand up manfully, goes into a wide brand, but we're going to keep it what we talking about tonight. Basically saying, man up. Man up. Put away childish things. When I say man up, we still talking about what Paul said. How when he was a child, he did childish things. He thought as a child. But when he became a man, and his time in the season for him to become a man, he put away childish things. Same thing in here. You want to have fun? There's nothing wrong with that. But know the time and the occasion to do so. Stand up manfully. Man up. Put away childish things. Discern the time and the season. Discern the times and the seasons. Be a man. Know when it's appropriate to do certain things. As a man, know when it's time to joke. Know when it's time to joke. Know when it's time to have fun. Don't be as a kid or as a child. because a child can't discern that time. They have to be taught those things. As a man, we as an adult, we should know when it is an appropriate time to have fun, when it's appropriate time to crack jokes, when it's an appropriate time to do to to just kick it. You got to know the appropriate time for those things. But as a man, you have to know that, guess what? Our walk is not about how much fun you can have, because this is a serious matter. Because like I said over and over, it's souls on the line. Your soul is on the line. Other people's souls on the line. And your childish behavior can damn well be somebody else's downfall. You can be the stumbling block to get someone cast into the pits of hell. It's time for you to discern. It's time to discern the times and know when it's time to play and when it's time to be serious. Don't be as a child, not being able to discern when it's time to put away childish things and when it's time to be serious. Paul understood these things, but that's the problem with the generation today. The generation of men today cannot discern when it's time to put away childish things. As a fact, the men of the generation today are like children. You're children-minded because you don't know when it's time to be serious. As a fact, let's read that. Let's go to Luke chapter 7. Let's go to Luke chapter 7, verse 31. And the fact that we have to do this class shows you the mindset of the men today. Luke chapter 7 and verse 31. And it reads, Luke chapter 7, verse 31, it reads, excuse me. And the Lord said until then, Salakia, and the Lord said, whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like? I'm going to read that again. And the Lord said, whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like? So Christ is talking. He said, what can I liken the men of this generation to? What can I compare the men of this generation to? What are the men of this generation like? How do they act? What are their mindset? What's something I could pinpoint to show how the men of this generation operates? Verse 32. They are like children sitting in the marketplaces. They are like children sitting in the marketplaces. So Christ was telling me that should be an insult to every man. Every man hates when a woman tells him that he's childish. No man, I've yet to meet a man that is okay with a woman saying that he's childish. Christ just confirmed what a lot of women tell a lot of you men today, that you are childish. You act like goddamn children, kids in a marketplace. You know what kids in the marketplace do? They want everything they see. They want to have fun all the damn time. They don't understand that you don't get what you want every time you want it. The children in the marketplace, all they want to do is play, go back and forth, singing, crying, complaining. Children in the marketplace, you tell a kid, notice when you go in the store, a little kid grabs a ball or something and you take it from him. What does that little kid do? Go to screaming, hooping, and hollering, and crying because it didn't get what it wanted, what he or she wanted. Also, children in the marketplace, what do? They want to play with every toy they see. They want to have a fun time. Just like the men of this generation. It says they're like children in the marketplace. It's telling you, the men of this generation, you're like kids. Everything you see, you want. All you want to do is have fun, joke, all you want to do is have fun and play, crack jokes, play games, make childish outbursts. You like a little ass kid. Like, really, you are a grown ass man. Man up. Your life can't consist of playing all the damn time. Your life can't consist of playing all the damn time. Know when it's time for that. When we handling the Lord's business, that's not a time for jokes and games. You want to have fun all the damn time, you like a little kid. Our life don't consist of that. It's time to know when it's time to be serious. And if all you want to do is have fun, let me know. I will get you some Jello, some coloring books, and some Legos, and you can take your ass over there to the kids section. I'm going to say it again. If all you want to do is have fun, let me know. I will make sure we will get you some Jello, we will get you some coloring books, and we'll get you some Legos, and you can go play on the kids section. But we got business to do over here. We got business to do over here. So if you're only concerned with having fun, then you may be in the wrong place. No, I'll go step up there. You're in the wrong place. Because we don't get it twisted. We have fun here. We crack jokes. We play around. Hell, we just left the bowling alley Sunday. Had a fabulous, wonderful time in there, cutting up, rolling balls, having a good damn time. That was a time to have fun. But when classes is going, we are on our business. There's no jokes in here. It's not time to play. Before the class start, we go over scriptures. Hell, we have side conversation. We be playing. We not playing like kids, but we joke. We have conversation and stuff. Yeah, we do that. We do. But when class starts, everybody knows to flip the switch because there's a time to this. That's the time where you use wise judgment. Okay, class is coming. Scriptures is going. It's not a time to joke. And if you can't discern that, then there's something wrong with you. There's a problem with you. Your mindset is jacked up. You are a little kid. The Bible says a man is to teach his wife, right? How in the hell can you teach your wife if your mind's still childish? A lot of you brothers wonder why your wives is out of order and stuff like that because you out of order. Her example is a big ass kid. All he wants to do is joke and have fun. Man up. Know when it's time for that. You got to be able to discern these things. Paul put away childish things when it was time to put away childish things. You men today, you have to be able to do the same thing. No man should get so carried away with joking that when it's time to get serious, he don't know when to cut it off. So if you just concerned with having fun, you are unseasoned. You are a child. You're childish, and you need to go to the kids section. We'll get you some coloring books, some Jello, and some Legos, and you can go have a ball on the kids section. But over here, we got business to do. Get out the way. If you ain't about this work. If you ain't about this work, get out the way because you're just taking up space. Let's go to Titus. Let's go to Titus. But like I said, if you're only concerned with having fun, I'm going to tell you something. You're not ready to lead. You're not ready to lead. And you're certainly not marriage material, but you're not ready to lead if all you're concerned with is how much fun can you have. Let's go to Titus and show you the men. This is serious business. This is a serious business. And the Bible requires you to be serious if you're going to conduct yourself in this business. And let's prove that. Let's go to Titus. I was going to go to Timothy, but I figured some of you men would just say, oh, that's only if you want to be a bishop. That's only if you want to be a bishop. So we'll just go and get it. We'll just go get it somewhere else. So that way you can't just throw it on the bishop thing. Let's go somewhere else and get it. Let's go to Titus. We're going to read chapter 2. Titus chapter 2. Let's start at verse 1. Titus chapter 2 and verse 1. Titus chapter 2 and verse 1. And the topic is family instructions. Family instructions. Let's read verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, and charity, and patience. Key word in there is grave. Graveness, you know what that means? This is not talking about a funeral grave. This graveness means seriousness. Graveness means seriousness. So when it says that the aged man be sober, grave, it means be serious. Be serious. All right. The aged man be grave, meaning be serious. The aged man be serious. So that shows clearly when someone's childish. So if you're concerned with only having fun, you don't know when to be serious. That shows three things. Either one, you're childish, two, not seasoned, or three, not serious. That's what this verse shows. The aged man should be grave, meaning serious. When you have no serious side, you don't know when it's time to be serious. You're only concerned with having fun. It shows three things. I'm going to say it again. The three things that show that you're either one, childish, two, unseasoned, or three, not serious about this truth. Not serious about this truth. Now, watch this. Let's jump down. Let's see if that only applies to the aged man. Jump down to verse 6. Young man likewise exhort to be sober-minded, and in all things show thyself a pattern of good works, and in doctrine showing uncorruptedness, gravity, sincerity. That's all I want. Gravity. So be serious. Show seriousness. Show a sign of seriousness. It says, young men also supposed to have gravity, some form of seriousness, so they know the appropriate time and place, and they learn that from us. They will know the appropriate time and place to joke, to play, to have fun. They will know the appropriate time and place. And they learn that from us men, us aged men, us bishops, all of us. Not saying that, I'm just, because, every school has a ranking system. And everybody has to, most schools have a ranking system, put it like that. We are the examples. You men in the front row, you are the examples. Men in general, you are supposed to be the examples to your wives and to the younger generation coming up. You have to have a form of seriousness and know when to be serious. Therefore, the people that follow our example understand that there's a time to play. There's a time to joke. There's a season for everything under the heavens. And they're going to learn that from us. As a fact, watch this. I'm going to show you. Let's get an example, because let's see how Christ rolled real quick. Let's get Christ real quick. Let's do it like that. Let's go to Luke chapter 2, verse 49. I'm going to show you something real quick. This is one of the school slogans here. Luke chapter 2, verse 49. Luke chapter 2 and verse 49. And he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business? So we go here. And Christ is telling his own mother and father in the flesh that I must be about my Father's business. The Father's in the heaven. We must be about the Father's business. He must be about the Father's business. Likewise with us today. We must be about our Father's business. We must be about our Father's business. And our Father's business is a serious business. It's a serious business. Because the results of this business that we must handle could be life or death, eternal damnation, or rulership in the kingdom. That's a very serious business. Now, watch this. Let's go get the other side of Christ. Let's go to Matthew chapter 26, verse 30. I'm going to start there. Matthew 26 and verse 30. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 30. Matter of fact, let's start at 28. We're going to start at 28. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 28. And it reads, For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung in hymns, they went out into Mount Olives. So here we read about Christ having a good time, where he's laughing, he's drinking, he enjoyed himself. He had such a good time. He went to singing hymns with his disciples. They had a good time. Imagine, you know how it be at the party, y'all having such a good time. Everybody, we done start busting out, singing out. The wine is delicious. Everything, like it, kind of like at Passover, because this is what this was about. Instead of Passover, we have such a good time. We be drinking, we eating the lamb, we partying, we having such a good time. That's another side that we read of Christ. So we read about how Christ, when it was time to handle business, he was about business. And when it was a time when it was time to have fun, and Christ enjoyed himself and had fun. Now, let's get another side of Christ real quick. Let's go to Matthew chapter 25. And we'll start at verse 23. Matthew 25 and verse 23. And it reads, well, let's start at 22. And he that received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into joy of thy Lord. Enter into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid. I went and hid my talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that thou is thine. That there thou hast thine, that is thine. So his Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. So here we read where a man was like, he received a talent and didn't do nothing with it. And his first thing was, I know that thou art a hard man. Meaning a serious man, a mean man, an austere man. So he didn't do anything with his talent. What did Christ say? You a wicked servant. Now watch this. He says, jump down to verse 28. He says, Take therefore the talent from him and give it to him which had 10 talents. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, he shall have an abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. Therefore shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So here we read Christ, where a man said Christ was a hard man, an austere man, a mean man. And then we see how Christ, that same Christ that loved us so much, that died on the cross for the remission of our sin, for the propitiation of our sins, that same Christ went into cast this wicked and slothful man into destruction. Weeping and gnashing of teeth means he's crying, and gnashing of teeth means you're bracing for pain. Christ said, put him to death, cast him into outer darkness, because he's slothful, he's wicked, and he didn't handle the Father's business. So why did I do that? Why did I go and show you 3 different sides of Christ? I showed you where Christ snapped in and said it's business. When it's business time, it's business time. I showed you when it was time to have fun, Christ had a good time. We showed you when Christ has to deliver judgment, it's time for judgment. I'm basically showing you the 3 sides of Christ, how Christ, I did that to show you that Christ, there's a time and a place for everything, and Christ knew how to discern that. He understood it. And likewise with you men today, you have to be able to discern what the time and occasions is. You have to be able to discern those things. You have to be able to discern those things. So now, I did that to show that I showed you Christ told his parents when it's business time, it's business time. When Christ was having a good time, it was time to have a good time. And when it was time to be dead serious, Christ understood it was time to be dead serious. Likewise with you men today. Know when it's time to put away childish things, which for you men, that should have been a long time ago. It's time to put away childish things. But know when it's time to have fun and crack jokes and all those other things as well. Know the time. So now, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. Again, we'll close out there. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heaven. There is a time, a place, and a season for everything under the heaven. Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, as he poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when the disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. But when Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For you have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment upon my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, this that this woman have done, be told for a memorial of her. So we are commanded to tell what this woman did, preparing Christ for his burial, which was Mary Magdalene. We are to tell what she done to prepare Christ for his burial, showing that you women are important to the truth. So know your role, play your role. All right, men, there's a time and a season for everything. I want to thank you all who I see it's only 2 people online, but you know what? Glory to the Father. I want to thank you all for joining us here at One Nation Israelite School for the Tuesday night class. Once again, it was entitled Time for Everything. I pray that it was good for edification, that you learned something that we can apply to our day-to-day lives. One favor before you all leave, could you please smack that thumbs up, smack that thumbs up, smack that thumbs up. And with that, Lord's will, we'll see you again soon. Shalom. Glory to the Father.